afternoon. It's Friday, April 11th. Today we have the pleasure and privilege to have Mr. Trader Mayne on the show. Obviously a CT legend, YouTube, Twitch, founder of Breakout, great trader, great person, someone that has been in the space for a long time providing content, both trading and both lifestyle and otherwise. That's really, had a profound effect, at least, in the community. He's a good friend of mine. I met him a couple of cycles ago in Dubai. Had no idea who he was. He was a very humble individual. Told me about the market, actually told me to sell the top, which I didn't listen, of course. And, we've been friends ever since. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show to discuss really his origin story. I'd like to try to get an understanding of where people came in crypto, how they got there, the things they did before then, and what kind of drew them to the crypto space. I think a lot of people in CT have similar characteristics, whether they be good or bad. But they bring us all to this space where we kind of interact with each other on a daily basis. But it's interesting, at least for me, knowing the members of the WeTards or some of the members in the CT community. Everyone comes from a different place, a different socioeconomic background. And that's one of the reasons I love crypto so much, is that, I have been able to have the privilege and pleasure to meet these people in different states or countries. And even regardless of age, Rookie and some of these other people are my closest friends are much younger than me, and have interesting perspectives and unique perspectives on how to live life and do things of that nature. So I'd like to bring Mayne on. He'll be on in a couple minutes. But thanks for tuning in. This is our second episode here for Liquidated. I'm going to continue to have hopefully some of the best names in crypto on, whether they be traders or founders or just intellectuals in the space. I hope to get different perspectives from people, and my goal is to garner a greater understanding of the space. Hopefully, provide some interesting tips and for people that want to get into the space, whether the founder or as a trader. And my DMs are always open as well. I'm Grimace85 on Twitter. And after today's show, we're going to also have PwnLord69 on. Who is someone that is really good in the trenches on trading. We're going to have him on every week to discuss meme coin trading and kind of the topics of the week. As you know, I'm more of a Bitcoin maxi. I've been part of the Bitcoin community since 2016, so I'll kind of restrict my opinions and comments on some of those things to myself. But I understand that crypto largely for traders is a PvP game. So I want to have the ability to bring people on that will provide some education to that community and be able to hopefully expand that and grow in that space. So do you have your own media guy over there, or just kind of you doing your own thing?
It's all me, baby.
Yeah, I got a guy. I'm too old for this stuff.
I should probably hire a guy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's getting to that point, huh?
It's getting there.
Well, you've known me for a while, but a lot of CT probably doesn't. I wanted to start kind of this Liquidated podcast because I think it's interesting. All the people in the crypto space kind of generally come from all different walks of life, ages, people, jobs, poverty, not poverty, or whatever else in the world. And I think a lot of the friends that we have now, also are from, other states, other countries, different age groups, and they've become more or less some of my best friends. And with all that being said, I think there's, we had a karate combat event, I think a long time ago, and there was a bunch of influencer fighters. I think me and you were both like, who the heck are these people? I've never seen these guys in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought it'd be fun, just to maybe start a podcast and kind of get some people on, first some of my friends, and then kind of go from there, and some founders and some traders. And hopefully it'll help kind of the next wave of crypto people who are coming into the space, whether they be traders or founders or trenches guys are doing PvP stuff. Obviously, I'm a Bitcoin guy, but I'm going to have, some people on like PwnLord to talk about meme coins and trading and things of that nature. So people can kind of get their own, opinions or ideas from other people that may help them in the future. And I think that, you are a staple in the community, in the space. You've been in Twitter, since 2013 or around that time?
Way too long. Yeah. 2013.
And you've made a name for yourself, and I think we'll get into this a little bit later, but like you've preserved your integrity and done things kind of the right way, and it's made a big name for yourself while giving advice regarding trading, while giving advice regarding what coins to buy. Whereas a lot of people kind of fizzle out over time because they take the easy way out, try to make some more money, or they just get shit on for trying to give good advice, and it ends up not being the best advice in the world. Um, but how did you get into crypto? I kind of want to get through your origin story and tell your tale, and then kind of we'll go through some other things. But I'm really interested, like what drew you to crypto, or was it by accident, or what?
Yeah, so I can kind of give you the background. So I've been first introduced to crypto through a friend of mine back in, I want to say it was even maybe as early as 2012. And this was a good buddy of mine who was always into kind of, schemes, right? So he would invite me to multi-level marketing schemes and all sorts of shit because he was always trying to make money, right? He was trying to find ways to make some money. For me at the time, I was, 21, 22, 23. So anytime we went to one of these multi-level marketing meetings, there was lunch involved, right? There's free lunch, some free drinks. I was young, I was broke. I was like, okay, at the very least, like I'm getting some food out of this thing, right? Maybe a beer. So that's how I, you know, kind of was operating. I knew this guy and told me about this thing called Bitcoin. He's like, this is the future of money. This is going to revolutionize the financial space and you should buy some. I'm buying a bunch. And at the time it was like tens of dollars for a Bitcoin. And initially I faded him because I was like, okay, like everything you've ever told me to do has been retarded. Like you tried to tell me to buy and sell Tupperware, Cutco knives, life insurance policies. Like it's all BS. So I initially ignored him, but then coming around the bull run of 2013. So when Bitcoin went to 1,200 bucks, I think was the high. On the way up there, I had noticed, I said, damn, this Bitcoin thing that he had told me about, it's like going up a lot in value. Like I should probably start to pay attention. So I basically joined Twitter and caught the very tail end of the 2013, 2014 bull run. So I'd bought a bunch of Bitcoin. It was really cheap at the time. And I turned a little bit of money into, for me at the time, what I perceived to be a lot. And I thought I kind of knew what I was doing. I was buying everything. I was on Twitter. People would tweet out, some random coin, barbecue coin, feather coin, some bullshit. I'd buy it and it'd go up. And what I learned very quickly is I wasn't smart. I didn't know how to trade. I was just like a bull in a bull market. Like I was buying stuff, everything was going up. And so I made a little bit of cash and then the market turned. The top was in and Bitcoin went from $1,200 back to like $200, dropped 85%. And every single altcoin I bought dropped 99%. And I didn't know you could sell. I didn't know you could go to cash. I didn't know that Bitcoin was going to be the one that had staying power. And so I got wrecked. I'd put more money in as we went down. I thought things were going to continue to go up and I got smoked. So from there, that kind of was the impetus for me to want to learn how it worked. Not necessarily crypto, but trading. Because I was like, okay, this chart, it goes up and down. You have all these candlesticks. Like, how the hell does it work? How can I predict what might happen? And that started me on my like day trading journey, like learning how to trade. I went in options and penny stocks and Forex and every other kind of avenue you can imagine. And I spent, a handful of years figuring those things out, taking courses, spending money. And as I was starting to become decent at trading, the next bull run basically was starting 2016, 2017. And I asked myself, hey, I wonder if all this stuff that I've been learning works on these crypto charts. And it did. So that was the first bull run, like 2016, 2017, where I actually had a decent understanding of what I was doing. Started posting about my journey on Twitter. And the rest is history. It's been 3 consecutive bull runs now that I've been doing this and full time since 2020, basically. It's been a wild ride, man. And the social media account part of it was just kind of a byproduct of, sharing what I was doing.
Yeah, so you're basically following your passion, and you documented and journaled it, and then it became content creators became a very valuable thing, you know, and that kind of helped you get to where you are.
Yeah, I don't think I would have named my account Trader Mayne if I knew that this was going to become like a career
Right.
for me and posting videos and stuff like that. But I've always enjoyed teaching and helping people. And, to your point, it was never about, promoting meme coins or, any sort of that kind of shit. That just wasn't me. I was like, I know that you can make money doing this, and I can probably help some people speed up their journey by learning some of the common mistakes and pitfalls and what to avoid. And it seems like, a lot of people are realizing right now what I realized back in 2013 is maybe they don't know what they're doing. Maybe they were just bullish and everything was going up. And then when things stop going up, it becomes a lot harder. And, you see what kind of who's swimming with their pants down, for lack of a better term. And it's usually a lot of people.
I mean, for me, that's certainly how I became more of a Bitcoin person. Is I went through a similar cycle as you. I bought all the shit coins. I actually got hacked, I think, on a Discord channel or something, and learned about hard wallets and all these other things. And I realized, Bitcoin seems to be the thing that has staying power and something that I actually believe in. But all these other shit coins, there seems to be all these alternative motives for people that are founders or originators or coals or whatever else that, I'm not that insider, so I'm probably not going to make any money off this stuff. But
Mhm.
back in 2013 and 14, what did you study to learn about this stuff? Is it something that still you can study today, or is it completely changed? You have to just go on YouTube, or what people would you recommend besides yourself for a trader to go, okay, this is someone that has good knowledge, someone I trust.
So back then, YouTube was a lot earlier. Like it wasn't what it is now. And there's good and bad to that, I guess. But like I was on forums, I was on like threads on Reddit and things like that. So I think it's easier now to learn because there's so many people who are sharing. YouTube is so big. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world behind Google. So YouTube has become ubiquitous. Everyone can create a YouTube channel, start sharing content. So I think YouTube and Twitter are a fantastic way to learn because there's so many smart people sharing, right? They're giving out free game. The hard part is not learning. The hard part is separating the noise from the signal. There's also a lot of bullshit online. There's a lot of people who pretend to know what they're talking about. And I think there's a skill in its own of trying to wade your way through that and find who's legit and who's not. But gosh, I mean, we're so lucky with some of the people that we have online that just share for free about their journey, about trading. Obviously, I don't need to shill myself. I post tons of video on YouTube, but there's guys like Crypto Cred who have like a university level course on how to trade. Like from I don't know a single thing to full on actually executing trades, hundreds of hours of video, all for free. So there's dozens of guys like him who are posting for free on YouTube. I personally got into it through Forex. So I got caught up in that, like, you want to make money from home scheme. Everyone wanted to make money in their underpants. Like, that was the idea. It's like, oh, I don't have a boss. I wake up, I open up my computer, I press a couple buttons, I make money. So I got screwed a lot. Like I paid for mentorships that did nothing, but that trial and error is, what got me to where I am today. And then it was just a matter of kind of building my own system and, refining it from there. But I think we're in the information golden age. Like there's so many great people that you can learn from. You just got to put in the work, man.
You got to put in the work, and we're always going to keep failing and failing until something else works out.
Yeah.
Um, what about today? Are you using like any resources besides like some of your traders that you trust, or with me personally, like I think 2013 or to about 2016, it was pretty easy to make money if you followed people on Twitter. Now I think it's more important to mute people on Twitter and follow just a few people. Would you agree
Yeah.
with that?
100%. I mean, to my point before, like the signal to noise ratio is completely skewed now on Twitter. Like there's more bullshit than there is good. A lot of the best CT counts don't even post anymore because they don't want to. Like it's become oversaturated with just idiots. I mean, like I continue to post because I still like to do it. I've got a relatively thick skin, but the risk, the reward for me, like the upside for me to post trade ideas and stuff anymore, it's like zero. Because if
Yeah.
I get it wrong, everyone's in the comments trying to shit on me. And if I get it right, everyone goes, well, what's next? Right.
Right.
So it is harder to find those good people. And I do think that Twitter is now inundated with large following accounts who people confuse to be like subject matter experts when in reality this person was just like a permeable and they were bullish the entire way up, but they're going to be bullish the entire way down. So I agree. There's some decent accounts to follow, but at the end of the day, man, like this is a one player game. Like this is a solo game. This is not two players, not co-op. Like you're the one making these decisions. It's your money at the end of the day. And so before you even consider starting to trade, you got to get comfortable with that. The ability to realize that, like, hey, these are decisions I make, and I'm going to make or lose money based on my decision-making process. Because there's nothing worse than, doing something because someone you perceive to be smart told you to do it and it doesn't work. Then you want to blame them. But at the end of the day, they didn't force you to click the button. They didn't force you to buy that coin or take that trade. But the longer I've been in this game, bro, the more it seems that you just want to own Bitcoin and not much else.
Yeah, like I know I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I learned that a long time ago. And the thing is it's always seemed to be Bitcoin is a great investment, especially for people that aren't traders. And like we have AI agents now, we have a lot of sharp people, and a lot of insiders trying to take your money. So it's almost like a keep it simple. If you get in a good point of a bear market and get lucky, then maybe you could wait for something out, but it's really difficult to do.
I think the level of competition is way higher than it was, right? Because we now have institutional money, HFTs, really sharp traders in this market that were not there before. It's still not as efficient as the traditional markets, but it's getting more efficient. It's not nearly as inefficient as it was before, to your point, when it was easier to make money.
Right.
And I think that trend's going to continue. I've built my entire brand on helping people learn to trade. But at the end of the day, when most people ask me about trading, I tell them not to even bother because it's very hard. The majority of people fail. The majority of people will lose money. And if you're lucky enough and skilled enough to be profitable, not only do you have to be profitable, but you have to outperform the best performing asset of all time. Like, since its inception, Bitcoin is like the best performing asset ever. So not only do you have to be profitable and beat, the market and have an edge, you also have to outperform the underlying asset itself, which is very hard to do.
And not only that, you have to, kind of beat out your psychology of your ego and everything else, because just like I used to play poker, some of the great poker player in the world, they might win a couple tournaments, but they don't know when to stop and exit the casino. So it becomes, this dopamine thing where you really have to write down your goals before the cycle starts. Make sure that you take profit and do these things, because if you don't do it, you're never going to leave the casino and you're just going to lose the money eventually.
Yeah, there's a reason a lot of poker guys come to crypto and do very well. It's because they understand risk management. The best traders are risk managers. And I told people this as soon as we broke all-time high. I'm like, you're going to start seeing some crazy shit. You're going to see some crazy targets get called by people. This cycle's different. We're going to 500K. I was like, you need to know your exit strategy now. Even though we had just broken all-time high, you should have a number. Like, how high do you think Bitcoin can go? You should have a portfolio-based target, and then you should have a charting-based system. Because what happens if you think Bitcoin goes to 150K and it doesn't? Does that mean you just never sell? Like, at what point do you take profit? Okay, well, I hit my portfolio goal, but we didn't hit my price goal. Great. Well, you still got to, skim some off, at least, to your point, and realize the gains, because none of it's real until you get out of that casino and you turn those chips into cash.
And how do you personally deal with the psychology of all this stuff?
You got to just do it. Like, people are like, what books do you read? Have you read, Thoughts of a Market Operator? Have you read Trading in the Zone?
Mm-hmm.
The best experience is experience,
yeah.
Right? Like, this is very much a learn by doing thing. It's no different than poker. It's no different than sports. Like, you can practice your free throws in the gym, but until it's game time and you need to hit both of them and there's like a crowd, you can't replicate that anywhere else. You can get your reps in as many ways as you can, but once there's money on the line, once it's the show, it's that type of callus you need to build up only comes from doing.
And I think that's a good point. I don't think anyone knows you. You know yourself, and so you got to have to go through that process on your own. Like when I started buying Bitcoin, I bought it at I think $1,200, and if it went up $100 or down $100, like should I buy? Should I sell? Should I buy? Do I sell? Now it could go to 1,200 to 108,000, and then back to 10 grand, and I wouldn't feel very much. I know it'd be depressing, but I've held Bitcoin through some crazy swings over the last few years, and you build calluses and you build conviction, and those things become healthier. I think they still take a few years off your life. Am I wrong, man? But hopefully it provides us a little bit better
I think that's
future.
the least of our worries.
Yeah. But how do you compare some of these cycles with other ones? I mean, I know, one cycle will have ICOs, one cycle will have NFTs, one cycle will have memes, we have staking, we have different names for staking. When these, kind of narratives come up, how do you try to profit from them or stay away from them?
So I think every cycle has been different, but at the same time, the same. So every time we have a cycle, everyone tries to tell you this time's different. This is the real thing. But it just seems like we have a new flavor for the stuff, right? Whether it's altcoins, whether it's NFTs, which are just altcoins with pictures attached to them, whether it's meme coins, which are just, again, like super leveraged derivative altcoins. It seems like it's just the same every cycle. It just gets bigger and bigger. I've seen a lot of people say that, this was not a good cycle. Like this cycle was not good. And I mean, I don't know by what metric you could say that this was a bad cycle, because we've gotten everything I think we've ever wanted. We've got the ETFs, Bitcoin hit six figures. We have a pro crypto president who launched his own fucking meme coin. It's being talked about on the news. There are countries that are buying Bitcoin. There are companies that are buying Bitcoin. We had multiple meme coins go to multi-billion-dollar valuations. What do you mean it wasn't a bull run? Like, there's people who are still saying, well, alt season hasn't happened. The bull run hasn't been good. And I'm always just like, well, maybe that just means that your coins didn't go up. Coins you held didn't go up. If you held Ethereum, it was probably a shitty bull run, right? But if you held Solana, it was fantastic. If you held Bitcoin, even just Bitcoin did a 7.5x. So it's all perspective, but I think it's always gotten bigger. And it's hard for me to say that this wasn't the greatest cycle ever. I mean, we had every single thing we've ever wanted pretty much happened.
I mean, there's not much more you can ask for. I mean, and I think that anytime you start seeing tweets that it's alt season already passed. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, but every time I see a cycle, I start seeing all the tweets about alt season. Never happens, and then it goes back to Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, alt season's a relative term. I think people have romanticized this idea of alt season, that it's a period of time where every single coin goes up at the same time 1,000%. And that's like never happened. There's periods of time where altcoins outperform Bitcoin. That exists for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And have we seen a traditional alt season where Bitcoin dominance has fallen off? No, we haven't seen that this cycle. But I always tell people, usually the people who are screaming for alt season, they fall in like one of two buckets. One, their coin hasn't pumped, so they need alt season so they can feel like they've, made money and their coin has now gone up. Or two, they're probably holding some bags or have some sort of financial incentive to be shilling you alt season and this need for this all, everything pump alt season so they can dump whatever they're trying to dump on you. There's usually a lot of ulterior motives, and it usually falls in one of those two buckets. It's like, okay, lots of alts went up. I mean, look at Popcat with Pepe, like Frog, like so many of these coins went up hundreds of millions of dollars. All the AI coins, I think, combined hit $15 billion. Goat and Hero, bro. Like, you're telling me that there wasn't an alt season because maybe your coin didn't go up? You know what I mean? Most of these coins trend to zero against Bitcoin over the long term. Just how it is.
And again, with the psychology that I've known multiple people that had 10 figure, or excuse me, eight figures, even mid eight figures of some meme coins, and they've kind of round tripped it back to a few $1,000,000.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a fucking callus building up. How many times can you do that? And keep coming back for more. I think we've become completely desensitized to money in crypto. I don't think people realize like how much $1 million is in the real world, $10 million is in the real world, because it's greed, right? It's like, well, what if it's more? What if it keeps going? What if my coin's the one that's gonna be the one that goes nuts? And remember last cycle when people were getting those crazy offers on their NFTs? I got offered $10 million for my picture of a monkey. Here's why I'm not taking it.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those people would love to go back in time and, take that deal now? So you always got to kind of ask yourself that when you're faced with that. You got a bag that is effectively vapor. It's not really anything. Most of these coins are nothing, especially meme coins. They don't even pretend to be something. And if it's all of a sudden worth some crazy figure, you got to like have a conversation with yourself. Like, hey, should I be realizing some of this profit?
Yeah, and I think that what people need to realize is like they feel like if they're going to sell this picture of a monkey or this coin, that they're out of the arena and they're no longer in battle. But the thing is, if they really realize, they could exit the arena and then re-enter the arena much lower and be a rock star at that point. I think I've seen people get through. Usually, I feel like it takes 3 cycles for someone to get rich in crypto, unless they screw it up. And some of the really smart people will sell the top of the 3rd cycle and then buy the bottom in the 4th and get super rich. But I feel like, I started with 20K and slowly accumulate Bitcoin. When COVID happened, I kind of was in an all-in spot. But I run a law firm. I've continually done that. Never pretended that I was a trader. Never pretended I was something else. And I feel like that was a good recipe to get through the bear markets and keep building my portfolio and kind of go from there. But for someone that is like a small trader or someone that like tried to make it, I feel like they kind of have to get lucky before they get into the bigger majors like Bitcoin or Sol or whatever else. What do you think about, those type of people that are trying to get in the space, like, farm, hyper liquid type things or what?
A lot of people have been priced out of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because like if you only have 10 grand, let's say you bought the stone bottom on Bitcoin last cycle at 15K, you might have turned that 10 grand into 80. That's incredible. It's a crazy return in 2 years, but that's not life-changing money, right? Most people, I think they think of crypto as like, I'm going to put in 10 grand. I'm going to walk out of this with millions, right? So the only few ways to do that, one, you mentioned, and this is the advice I give most people, don't quit your day job. Like buy your crypto and then continue to make money so you can then, with excess capital, buy more crypto, right? And then compound. People forget about the power of compounding. To your point, one cycle to the next. That's how you really get rich, is you don't lose your ass in the first cycle and you're able to reinvest lower in the next cycle. And something you also said, selling is an opportunity to potentially buy back lower with more money. Like that's how you get rich, is you sold Bitcoin at 100K and you're now able to buy it back at 70. You've now increased the amount of Bitcoin that you own. But for people who are priced out, don't quit your day job. And then there are tons and tons of ways to make money. Airdrops. I mean, the hype airdrop could have been millions of dollars with not even that much of an investment. There's things that you can do just by being around crypto to get free money. Beyond that, if you're trying to get those really outsized return, you got to move down the risk curve. You got to be willing to, gamble on the more risky stuff, right? Like you're not going to turn 10K into $1 million on Bitcoin, but you might on Fartcoin, like you might on some of these random coins. And so if that's what you're trying to do, you got to be in those meme coin trenches doing stuff like our friend Pwn Lord, that's just not me. Just like your lane, I have had zero success with that stuff. I fumbled Peanut. I fumbled Popcat. I fumbled basically every major meme coin you could imagine. I never seem to make money on them, but I know my lane. I know what I'm good at, and that's what I focus on. But yeah, for people who are starting with a little bit of money, don't discount your job and the ability to compound with time.
Yeah, and I think if you try to be a good person, you try to be a purpose, try to be a value, no matter what industry you're in, and you work hard, you'll eventually get that opportunity But make sure if you get that opportunity, get that 100x, don't think it's just another one's going to compound off the other one. Start getting into more like Bitcoin or some other coins that are going to compound over time, and keep working hard. But if you have those opportunities, make sure you try to exit the casino if you can, in time before, you round trip or not. Because I think a lot of people their egos are getting checked now because they made life-changing money, and then they put size into some meme coins to try to, continue to make the money they're making, and now they've round tripped the whole thing.
100%. I think a lot of people confuse their luck with ability, and they got lucky on a coin. This is why altcoins have community members, right? It's because someone made money on Link once, and now they're convinced that they're going to make money on it again. And that's why they can never let go. They can never not be a Link Marine. And they're just caught. They're stuck forever. And you don't want to get caught in that. To me, at the end of the day, outside of Bitcoin, I don't think anything is worth holding long term other than just dollars itself.
And I think a lot of your followers and some of the people that are going to watch this, most of them don't have a 9-to-5 job. Most of them are probably up and coming and might seek to be content creators and to get in kind of the space you're in. What advice do you have for them to try to get into the content creating space? Why they try to build their portfolio up in crypto?
I think the content creation, the hardest part is you just got to start posting, right? Like just literally start posting. I think that's one of the biggest fears people have is the inability to start sharing. Like you got to post. I was a reply guy before I had any followers, right? I was under all the big accounts replying, but I was consistent. I was posting. And then at the end of the day, you do want to try and add some value, right? So try and find a way to add value, whether it's something you learn, sharing that information, being part of a community as a contributor. That's how I started it. If you go back on my YouTube to 2018, like I was streaming to nobody. Like I was streaming to nobody. 3-4 people would watch. Now I have 1,000. And it was simply because I just kept doing it. It wasn't about, oh, what's the number of people? I wanted to share. I wanted to get my voice out there, my opinion out there. And people found what I was sharing interesting. So you just got to start posting and find your niche, find where you think you can add value, and keep going. That being said, if I could go back in time, I think I would have stayed anonymous rather than doxing. If I could go back in time, I think.
So you would have done all the episodes like with a covered screen or something?
Yeah, like I didn't start showing my face until a few years ago. And it's not because of the neck memes or anything like that. I don't give a shit about that. It's more so just because I think there is a lot of value in anonymity, especially when you're in a space like crypto. And I don't think that should be taken for granted. But me showing my face has helped me grow. So
right. Yeah, I mean, I think seeing a face is definitely helpful. You're a good looking man, so you gotta show yourself every once in a while. But I agree. Like I think anonymity has its point. We've had some issues in the past. I think people getting like, what was that? The Dash thing that happened. What's his name in the chat?
I get recognized a lot in public. It's pretty trippy.
And how do you feel about that? Like, do you enjoy it, or it just depends on? I know you don't like as much the CT comments than YouTube. People are nicer on YouTube, or
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've never had a bad experience in person, knock on wood, that remains the case. Everyone's always been super nice. But it's just kind of strange, bro. Like, it's just strange because, like, I'm not a celebrity. You know what I mean? Like, if I saw a celebrity, I'd be like, oh, that's this person.
Yeah.
But yeah, like people come up and try and talk to me in the bathroom and stuff. I'm like, bro, like, not the time. Like, wait till I wash my hands, meet me outside.
Yeah, I think I barely have a following, and like I just have these little crypto fight nights every once in a while. I was at 11, and like one of the Nelk boys invited me to his table. I was like, "How do you even know who I am?" It was like the weirdest thing ever.
Because you're the champ, bro.
Yeah.
Don't discount yourself like that.
He must have saw the fight before BitBoy or something, but that was kind of surreal moment. What do you think about the elections? What do you think about where we're at with all the tariffs? Are you sidelined? Where are you at these days?
I think one of the best parts of what's going on right now is you get to see who actually knows what they're talking about. Like, anytime anything happens on Twitter, people will. It's like crypto Twitter is like subject matter expert on everything. You know what I mean? Like everyone's got an opinion, a comment. Most people on Twitter don't have the fucking slightest clue of what's going on with the tariffs, with the bond market, with the economy as a whole, recession, depression, how that relates to crypto. Most people have no fucking clue what they're talking about. But with Twitter, everyone can have an opinion and post like they know what they're saying. So the benefit is you get to see a lot of people who are chatting shit and go, okay, I knew this guy was stupid. And you get to see a lot of people who are actually very smart. There's some really, really sharp guys on Twitter who are sharing some really, really good insights. I don't pretend to be one of them. I have no opinion on the tariffs and the bond market. Like I'm annoyed that every time Trump says something, the market pumps or it corrects. I don't like that. I do believe that the way out of this whole mess becomes, quantitative easing and liquidity being put back into the market. But I don't try and pretend like I have some deep macro level understanding of what the fuck's going on. Right. For now, I think the market was super hot. It ripped. We went to 100K. Trump got in. The market's cooling down. The stock market's been going up and to the right for years. So some sort of correction, I think, is natural. I'm not like completely doomer that it's over and, we're never going to go up again or we're entering some sort of multi-year depression. It's possible, right? It's possible, but I'm positioned in a lot of cash, some Bitcoin. That's basically it. I don't really hold any altcoins. I don't really hold anything else. And I'm willing to buy a lot lower. Like if we come down in the low 70s, the 60s, the 50s, I just don't see how that's not good value for Bitcoin long term, of course.
And just like kind of aside from crypto, like I've had a little bit of an existential crisis kind of lately with AI and robotics and where we're going to be at. I think I've had a freak out session with you about it, but have you tried to hedge your bets with any positions or stocks in that space, or are you just kind of staying out of it? Or
I have some positions in things like, NVIDIA, Planeteer, whatever it's called, Palantir,
yeah,
Google, stuff like that. At the end of the day, dude, like you pray to God you've made enough money and you have a skill that isn't fully outsourceable to a computer.
Yep.
Because like it's gonna get weird. Like the next decade is gonna get really fucking weird. And outside of just AI, like straight up robotics as well. One of the weirdest things I don't understand about what the US is doing is like, if their goal with these tariffs is like, we're going to bring back manufacturing to America. It's like, dude, these manufacturing jobs are going to be taken over by robots. Are they not?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
car manufacturing, you're telling me we're still going to have people putting parts of cars together. That's not going to be 100% automated. I always thought that the competitive advantage that the US had globally was technology. They outsourced low skill labor overseas to places like China, and they focused on technological ventures and industries that gave them an advantage over other countries, where they could say, hey, the labor is too cheap for it to be done in America here, but we want to have Apple, NVIDIA, Google, Meta, the Mag 7, Tesla, SpaceX, all those companies here. And that's what's running the economy. I think there's this weird disconnect, and maybe I could be completely wrong about this, that we need to bring back manufacturing of cars to America. Why? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Why not? Like, what's the stuff that's been carrying the economy for as long as I can remember is not GM and Ford. It's Tesla, Facebook, Netflix, Apple, NVIDIA, Google. You know what I mean? So I always thought that was kind of strange that there's this pitch to bring it all back home when it's like, dude, these jobs are going to be automated anyways. But yeah, don't quit your day job, kids. And hopefully you got some skills.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a personal injury lawyer. They're saying 90% of cars are going to be autonomous in 9 years. So I don't know where there's going to be a car accident. And I personally hired an AI person, and I created an AI agent like 3 weeks ago, which we're going to implement on Monday, which is going to make my office like 250% more efficient. And it's like at that point, okay, like, do I need more employees? Do I need less employees? Like it's already becoming a weird.
Dude, Chat GPT is unbelievable. Like if you know how to prompt the AI correctly, like it's super advantageous. And I definitely encourage anyone who is young and tech savvy to learn how to get the most out of things like Grok, Chat GPT, because there is unbelievable value for your day-to-day life, dude. Like I've trained my chat GPT where I can be like, I'm going to San Francisco, these dates, I want to stay in this area, and it will plan my entire trip for me, help me book flight, like everything automated. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but like the time saving is insane, especially once you train it to do certain things and understand how you write. Creating video ideas for me largely has become AI. I want to do a video on something like this. Help me write a script.
Right.
Boom. Like
Right.
like even the simplest things. Help me rewrite this email. Like you should absolutely get comfortable prompting and using AI. Don't be like those don't be like one of those like boomers who when the internet was taking over, they're like, I don't want to learn. Like you need to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I think Elon Musk and Peter Thiel both said like there will be someone that becomes a billionaire as a one employee company using AI, and I think this is a time where there was the industrial revolution, there was the information age, there's the Apple iPhone, now there's AI, and all these cycles are getting faster and faster and scarier and scarier. But I think that if you can master ChatGPT, and I tell my 10-year-old son, please start a business, download Cursor, which I think Cursor is an app that allows you to try to code, and you could, use ChatGPT and Cursor to code apps or whatever else. Um, it's a time in your life where you can have an idea and you could have someone, make that idea or AI make that idea become a reality without, doing the real tough labor. So there's some people out there, I think they're going to have great ideas that maybe aren't the best at executing, that might finally be able to execute these ideas with AI. And I know if
100%.
if I was 15 years old right now and I didn't have any money, I would be spending all day, every day on AI. And honestly, I probably should be right now, but I have obligations, everything. I mean, even now I'm making excuses. I should be on this fucking thing a couple hours a day.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. The world has changed like drastically. Like the whole online money world specifically, like when I go on YouTube now, there's like 1,000 different kids. They're all the same, right? They all have the same haircut. They all live in Miami, Dubai, or like LA. And they're
Mhm.
like, I'm 21 years old and I make 100K a month. And they do e-com, crypto, they're copywriting, they're fucking selling shit on Amazon, they're like whatever they're doing, they're making all their money online. And I'm like, dude, like, first of all, I'm not dunking on these kids. Like, good for you. Like, that's fucking incredible. Because when I was 22, 21, I wasn't doing any of that shit. Like, I was just getting drunk and like barely showing up to university classes.
Yeah, they're
So
amazing.
yeah, dude, the age of the internet and with what's going on with AI right now, like it just seems like people younger and younger are finding ways to monetize themselves. And one of those ways is, yeah, you can have a personal brand and you can monetize a lot of ways if you have a personal brand and you have something you can sell to someone, and AI can help you do that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, someone's talking about brand scaling right now in the comments, so that's interesting. So you started Breakout, what is it, like less than a year ago or what?
Started Breakout. We went live 16 months ago, but we started the company in January of 2023. Myself and our buddy Alex, Uncle Send It, and yeah, I basically came to him with this idea because I saw that prop trading was a growing industry. In I was like, okay, like I've traded with prop before. It's a growing industry. Why is no one doing this for crypto? Right? Like, why is no one doing this for crypto? Everyone's turning everything, everything's going on chain, everything's, got a crypto focus. Why is this specific industry not been done for crypto? Started doing some research. I realized that there wasn't a lot of competition. There was a few companies doing it. No one was doing it right, in my opinion. So I came up with the idea, and then I went to one of the smartest people I know, and I said, "Okay, how do I turn this idea into a business?" Right? And that's where he came in. I was like, I can help scale this with my brand and marketing and educating people on what this is and why it's good. But I need someone who knows how to run a company, how to build a team, run a business, and so we were a perfect match. And it's been crazy growth. I mean, we're the largest crypto prop firm on the planet. We're one of the biggest prop firms on the planet. It's been insane growth over the last 16, 17 months. It's gone phenomenally well. And we've helped thousands of traders make millions of dollars this bull run by taking advantage of prop capital because it's leverage. We allow people to trade with more money than they have. And if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money doing it. We've helped a ton of people absolutely crush and take advantage of all the crazy volatility that we've had. It's been a lot of fun, and it's just been a new challenge for me, right? Running a business, as you know, it's completely different than being on Twitter all day and trading and playing poker. Like it's different. You have people that rely on you. You have responsibilities. It's not just like, hey, I got to do this. I risk $1,000 to make $2,000. It's a completely different ball game, but it's been a lot of fun.
And how'd you balance that with crypto and the rest of your life? Just been
For
really
me, it's been the perfect match because the more I grow my brand and the more I share about trading, it's just more exposure for breakout, right? Like that's really what it is. Like the more people that see me learn about trading, learn that prop does exist in crypto, the better that is for the business. So it's really the perfect type of business for what I do, in that the more I'm doing, the more I get out there, the more people are going to get exposed to breakout. So it's been a lot of work. One of the best parts about being self-employed and a trader is like, I don't have to do stuff if I don't want to. Like I can wake up and be like, I don't want to trade today. And then I don't.
You think that makes you a better trader? I feel like a lot of traders are trying to force to trade, and then when the ones that have a 9 to 5 and don't really need to, they'll make better decisions.
I think there's something to that for sure. Forcing trades will absolutely cause you to chase money and trades that aren't there. For me, I've traded way less. Absolutely. There's been stuff I've missed, but it's been way better for my mental health. Like trading can be unbelievably unhealthy if you're not careful.
And how do you work on that? Have you ever seen a therapist? I don't know, not get personal, but I've personally done that before to help me with some stuff I need help. But
yeah, like I've been talking to like a performance coach,
yeah,
which is like a fancy word for like a therapist.
yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. And what they help you do is just tighten up your game, right? Like they help you make sure that there's no leaks in your system, that you're keeping it tight, that you're operating at the maximum level of efficiency that you can. It's been unbelievably helpful for me.
Yeah.
The guy I work with is named Elliot. He works with tons of poker pros, high performance athletes, entrepreneurs, business people, and they just help you get dialed in. And it's been super valuable for me because it is super important. I mean, one of the biggest hurdles for me was having employees.
Yeah.
Because for so long, I've been the show. Like if I show up, there's potential that I can make money. People are watching my streams because of me. If I risk money, I might make some money, but it's all me. If I don't want to work, I don't work. How hard I work dictates how much I make. And now it's like, okay, well, like I can't be missing out on meetings, going on vacation and trips all the time. I got employees who are looking at me
Right.
as one of the leaders of the company. I've got to set an example.
Yep.
So that's been something that's been a big change for me, but not in a bad way by any means. It's been good.
Yeah, I've learned that lesson myself because I've been traveling a lot with the boxing, and it's better for me to be in the office. I just, when I'm auditing my case, I'm like, okay, I need to be here a little bit more and kind of check myself. But with boxing too, it's like a lonely sport, just like trading, and you're kind of by yourself on this island. And I think it is important, if to check yourself psychologically. I think ChatGPT is a great reference for that too. That's very helpful to ask questions and see where you're at. So.
Yeah,
Uh,
everything I ask ChatGPT, it just tells me I have cancer. Anytime I say I've got something wrong with me, it's like you've definitely got cancer. But no, you've got to have, with trading specifically, you've got to have like reality checks, right? Like it's not like a regular job where you go in, you know what you have to do every day. You show up at this time, you leave at this time. This is your salary. Do this, you get a bonus. Trading, there's no structure. So you have to build that structure. So that's why a lot of people who I think do well at trading are people who play poker, people who come from those types of environments where they know how to have good risk management. They have a really strong mental framework. Doing things as simple as like going to the gym every day. So like for me, it's like I know when I was going to the gym, it got me out of the house. I'm got to be eating right. I know what I'm doing when I'm at the gym, and you got to build those guide rails yourself because they don't exist when you're, kind of just running your own book.
and I agree with that a lot. Like I think, we've been in this space for a while, and I personally have gone through, the phase where I'm making a lot of money. I'm going to party. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to travel around the world. But I think I'm most happy personally when wake up in the morning. I train a couple hours a day of boxing. I run my law firm. I'm hanging around good quality people that, are good for my life. And then, I go to bed kind of early, but, we've all done the flip side of that and made some money and bought out the clubs and all that stuff. But I think it's really also healthy to check yourself and realize when it's time to be a little bit wild and like kind of rein it in. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to have fun. I'm not telling anyone to not have fun. We've had our fair share.
Too
I
much.
also think that changes when you get older. Your priorities change, what you're
Yeah.
trying to do, who you're trying to do it with. Um, for me, the only, and regret's not even the right word, is I probably just wish I'd started worrying about that stuff sooner. Right? Like that's the thing I'm most jealous of online is like these young kids who are like this financially and physically aware of stuff. Like they're out there hustling, they're making money, they're going to the gym, they're taking care of themselves. I didn't get into any of that. I didn't start even making money really until I was like 27. Like that's when I started being like, oh, dude, I got to like get the bag. Like
Yeah.
that's okay. I got to start exercising, right? Like I got to start taking care of myself. And I'm not saying I haven't partied and stuff for the last, decade. I have. But gosh, if you're young and you're already locked into this kind of stuff, dude, the greatest asset you have is not the money, it's the time because it gives you so much optionality. You can take so many more risks when you're young because, if you're 22, you fucking blow it up. Now you're 23. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Whole lot different if you're 43, you got a kid and a wife and a house
Yep.
and mortgages. You can't take that same type of risk. So, for all the young guns out there, man, like fucking don't take the fact that you have that time for granted. Don't piss it all away.
Yeah. And as a 43-year-old, I agree. It's like, it's the money equals the time.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
that's the only thing you want to buy back once you have
yeah.
it.
And in your 20s, like, and even my 30s, like, I'm like, okay, I have, man, I have a lot of watches and a lot of these other things. Like, uh, I would trade that for time. So, like, I think in your 20s and 30s, you want to acquire these things. You want to be like, oh, this is cool. When you get to my age, you're like, okay, like, I just want to, have more freedom, more time.
How
So
many
it's,
watches do you need? How many cars do you need? You know what I mean? I think I would give up a lot to go back in time and be 22 again with what
yeah,
I know now about the world. But
yeah.
that's life. That's how it works, man. Everyone's on their own journey.
But also the journey you went through, you wouldn't be where you are now or who you are now. So it's like, you
No,
gotta see the positive about that too.
absolutely.
But I appreciate having you on, man. Hopefully we'll have you on again sometime. But it's good to have you here. And I'm doing this more as like a passion project. I want to have people on here to have a better understanding of the community of CT and kind of everyone's origin story and where they're coming from and what advice they have for the kind of up and coming people that are coming in the space. So I really appreciate having you on.
Dude, anytime. Next one we'll do we'll do in person. I'll come down to LA and we'll rip it live.
Yeah, we'll go grab sushi after and catch a Laker game. We're going to Laker game tonight. We're playing the Rockets, so I wish you were here.
Dude, and I saw all the starters are out, but LeBron's playing. That's all that really matters. As long as the glorious king is playing.
Yeah, that's good. One of my buddies is flying down from San Francisco, so I'm taking him to the game.
That'll be fun, man. All right, dude. Enjoy. Thanks so
All
much
right.
for having me, bro.
Love you, brother. Thank you so much.